Hello and welcome to Tomorrow is Yesterday, the show where we review every episode of Star Trek in production order. My name is Bernard Couch, and with me, as always, David Moss. Introduce yourself, David.
Hello, and my name is the Spider-Man.
Spider Man, Spider Man, does whatever illegal copyright. I need to stop saying as always because you're not always here. Anyways,
Yeah. I'm sorry.
it's okay. You know what does bother me though?
What?
You ever look at Memory Alpha?
Sometimes.
Alright, so I use Memory Alpha for my research, right? And like they made a
Yeah.
change that bugs me. So like I go to the episode like page, right, to do research on the episode because I want to know information about the episode. It starts with like the thing like it's this number of the season, this number produced, directed by this guy, written by this guy, all of like the basic stuff, right? But then it
Right.
says podcast and then links you to a an, a specific podcast. Like podcast didn't exist in the 60s. That podcast has nothing to do with the making of this episode. Like stop it. Like I don't care if Roddenberry's kid is paying you to make a podcast. Like it doesn't deserve to be linked on the Memory Alpha page. Like this podcast is just as what's the word I'm looking for? Not official, just
Import
as
important.
yeah, just as valid, that's the word. Just as valid as that podcast. Like there shouldn't be like that shouldn't be part of the official like page for the episode. Like you want to give that podcast like its own memory album page, that's fine, but like don't like link it on the page for the Changeling or any other original series episode. Like it had nothing to do with the making of that episode.
Right. I mean, it's not like we started with a couple million or, you know, and have all the fancy equipment and everything to where all those podcasts would.
Yeah. Like it doesn't bug me that that they have a page on Memory Alpha. It just bugs me that they're like on the page for the original series like episodes. That's what bugs me. And they're not even like an official like Paramount podcast. Like I'm pretty sure it's just the company that Roddenberry's kid has. Anyways, that's my little soapbox. The most first world first world problems. It's not even a really problem. It's just an annoyance.
So, talking back about me, um, because I'm very selfish. Um, so I think our listeners are wondering when are we gonna have an episode with Ryan, myself, and you?
I was gonna try this week, but someone wanted to do it at 6 o'clock and not 7 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
fine. It is valid. Actually, I meant to mention that in last week's episode. Like I was gonna say, and Ryan's not here because someone has to watch our kids while we do this. But yeah,
like,
I just forgot to mention Ryan's not being here. Honestly, there was a while ago I was gonna try to get you both on for a mock time because you both really wanted
yeah.
to talk about that episode, but we just couldn't make that work.
Uh, no, honestly, like I see it happening like when your kids are older,
Maybe.
probably like eighth season of Next Generation.
Next Generation didn't have 8 seasons.
That's my point.
Anyways, like I do think once we get to the movies, I'm gonna make like an actual effort to get all three of us there because like those are gonna be big episodes.
Yeah, yeah. Those are gonna be
And
they're
Ryan's
gonna be
never seen
killer.
the movie, so like that's gonna be fun.
Oh, you know what we should do?
What?
I know how you don't like this. We should do a we should do reaction video of her watching it.
That would be fun. I would put that on like Patreon or something. But no one
Yeah.
follows us on Patreon, which is why we don't make exclusive stuff for Patreon anymore. We just do this. We just release this early.
Yeah.
But hey, if you guys go subscribe to Patreon, we'll start doing exclusive content again.
Uh, all of our thousands of followers, listeners.
I wish.
Uh,
Maybe someday. Anyways, all right. What episode is this? The Changeling. The Changeling first aired on. I'm gonna say that again because I like mumbled through it. The Changeling first aired on September 29th, 1967. Was written by Meredith Lucas and directed by Mark Daniels, who we last mentioned for directing The Doomsday Machine. And with that, let's get to our cast. We have James Doohan as Lieutenant Commander Montgomery Scott, who we last saw in Wolf in the Fold. Nichelle Nichols as Lieutenant Uhura, who we last saw in Amok Time. George Takei as Lieutenant Sulu, who we last saw in Wolf in the Fold. Majel Barrett as Nurse Christine Chapel, who we last saw in Amok Time, and last heard in Wolf in the Fold as the Enterprise computer. Blaisdell McKee as Lieutenant Singh, who we last saw as Lieutenant Spinelli in Space Seed. Barbara Gates as crewwoman. Meade Martin as crewman. Arnold Lessing as Lieutenant Carlisle. And Vic Perrin as Nomad, who we last heard as the voice of the Metron in Arena. And that is our cast.
I don't know any of them.
Well, yeah, you did, because they were in old episodes of Star Trek that we've done already.
Still doesn't mean I know them.
Like, the guy who voiced Nomad also voiced, like, the godlike entity in the Gorn episode. The, uh, the one guy, Lieutenant Singh, I think, also was the helmsman in the Khan episode.
He looked familiar.
Yeah.
I knew he did. That James Doohan Dugan do
That's
that sounds
Scotty.
familiar.
That's
I know.
Scotty. All right. All right. Let's get into it. All right. We're on the bridge. Kirk asks her if there's any response from the Malurians. Yeah, that sounds right. Um,
Which is different than the Mandalorian system.
her has got nothing. Um, Kirk asked about the Federation science team that's working out there. Um, Still nothing. Scanning all frequencies, got nothing. Um, Spock says that that a long range sensor sweep is detecting no signs of life at all. And Kirk's like, that's not possible. There's 4 billion people out here. And Spock's like, nope. Um, Kirk asks what could have happened. Spock says, clip, we would have known in advance of any system-wide catastrophe, and in the event of an interplanetary war, there would be considerable radioactive residue. Our instruments show only normal background radiation. Any other possibilities? Unknown, sir. Sensor readings would have revealed the presence of any disease organisms. Yeah, any disease organisms. They do not. In addition, we received a routine report from the system only a week ago. Even the Cymbeline bloodburn does not act that swiftly. End clip. Um,
The what?
some blood burn thing, some blood disease.
Huh. That's scary that they would act quick.
Yeah. All right. Sulu says that the shields just turned themselves on because there's something coming at us at warp speeds. Kirk orders evasive maneuvers. Um, Spock's
Wait, so the
yes.
shields turn themselves off
Yep.
when
On.
something.
On.
Oh, on. Oh, you said
Yeah.
off. I was-
Oh, did I? Sulu
yeah,
says Captain Shields just snapped on.
I was like, wait, the shields turned off because something was coming at him. That'd been
S-
the perfect time for them to come on, not off.
uh, Spock says there's an extremely powerful bolt of energy. Uh, we see this like big white ball of light coming at the Enterprise on the view screen. It hits, everyone gets thrown around a bunch, the lights start flickering. Shields are holding because Scotty's on the bridge for some reason.
Won't
Scott,
be the
yes,
last time.
Scotty says shields are holding. Um, Spock says that the bolt had enough energy, had the energy of 990 photon torpedoes. Uh, Spock says that the first attack reduced the shield's power 20%, and her's like, first attack? Kirk's like, yeah, we're probably gonna get another hit. Um, yeah, this Spock says we can take three more hits, but a fourth one will uh, shatter the shields completely. Um, Kirk has Spock like pinpoint the source and tells Sulu more evasive maneuvers. Um, and tells Uhura to contact Starfleet Command to tell them what's going on, or like send them the logs. Yeah, he says to send them the logs. Um, Another ball of light hits. Everyone gets thrown around some more. They're losing power. Kirk's like, Scotty, you fixed it. And Scotty's like, I'm giving all power to the shields. You want shields, don't you? And Kirk's like, yeah, you're right. Mm,
Honestly, if I was Kirk, I wouldn't even send anything to Starfleet because it's not like they're all a bunch of idiots over there.
well, no, he just wants them to get the information of like what attacked them. All right. Spock says there's nothing within sensor range. A third bolt hits. They get thrown around some more. Um, Spock is able to pinpoint it. Kirk has Sulu prepare a photon torpedo. Then the third bolt hits. Scotty says shields are holding, but not for long. Uh, Kirk has Sulu fire the photon torpedo. It directly hits, but does nothing. And Kirk's like, how could that have happened? And me, the viewer, is like, because Spock told you that the things it was throwing at you were 90 photon torpedoes in strength. Yes, it could
Right.
absorb one.
Kirk kind of seemed stupid in this episode.
Just that line. Just that line. All right. Then they fired a fourth bolt, and it hits. And then Kirk has a herd just like broadcast to him. He's like, "This is Captain James T. Kirk. We're on a peaceful mission. Please stop." Um.
Which is what I would have done the first bolt.
All right. Oh, then Spock manages to scan the other ship, and he's like, "It's mm, it's a fraction of a meter." Yeah, he says the length is a fraction over just 1 meter, and Scotty says, "Clip, what kind of intelligent creatures can exist in a thing that small? Intelligence does not necessarily require bulk, Mister Scott." End clip. And that was a fun line. So they're in a ship that's a little over a meter. That's small. All right. Uhura gets a signal from the spacecraft, and it sends. What does it send? It sends like, okay. Kirk says to have. Kirk has Uhura like send them a signal to decode for some reason. Um. Okay. Now, never mind. All right. So the other ship sends them a a message in binary that's in an extremely sophisticated binary language. Um,
Right.
Kirk tries to get Spock to decode it. He's like, I have no clue. All
Which is
right.
a first for Spock.
Well then the ship stops. He was sending like a bunch of codes, and then he stops and just sends one binary code for them to decode, and like that works better. Um. All right, and then Uhura is able to figure out that the it's sending the message to repeat, and then Kirk's like, "All right, I'm Captain James D. Kirk of the Enterprise. We're on a peaceful mission. Please stop. Please stop hitting us." All right.
Please, sir, I don't want any more.
All right. Then it sends over a mathematical message for them to decode, and I think it like it like blows up the computer or Spock's little computer.
Right.
All right. And then her gets another message. It says USS Enterprise. This is Nomad. My mission is non-hostile. Could have fooled me. And then Nomads ask if they can leave their ship, and Kirk's like, no. Yeah, Kirk says that they can't come aboard his ship because of the size difference, and Nomad's like, non sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated. Um, and Kirk says they could beam them aboard. They can beam Nomad aboard his ship, and Nomad's like, that's okay. We can do that. Let's see. Kirk asked if there's if slip into my chair. All right. Kirk asked if they have any like specific like environmental conditions they can need to live in, and Nomad's like, nope, I'll come aboard. All right. Now they go to the transporter room, and McCoy's there because Kirk wanted McCoy there for some reason. Um, they beam aboard the other ship. It looks like a kind of looks like a cylindrical satellite, and that is the end of Act 1. Wait, was it? Thought that was the
Nope.
teaser. Huh. That might have just been the
You
end
know
of
what
the
it
teaser.
you know what it really looks like?
What?
One of those phaser rifles later on. I think it's
Not really.
I think it's original series that has them. It might be one of the movies. You know what
Hmm.
I'm talking about?
No, I don't, because it doesn't look anything like a phaser rifle. Oh, wait, I do think that's the end of Act 1, because I think the teaser was like when they got hit with the first bolt of light, and then it went to teaser, and that was
Yeah.
Act 1. Okay, there we go. I just labeled the script wrong. I didn't label the Act 1 break. Okay, anyways, Act 2. Um, let's see. They're in the transporter room. Kirk asks Spock to scan it. Spock's like, I can't scan it. McCoy's like, do we just go up and knock? Um, Nobat asks for their points of origin, and he's like, they're from the United Federation of Planets. And he's like, that's not sufficient. I'm gonna scan your star charts. And he's like, and Kirk goes to Spock. He's like, if we just show him Earth and up really close, like he's not gonna know where we are from Earth. We should be fine. And Spock's like, yeah, that should work. All right. Kirk asks them to leave a ship, and he's like, I'm. This isn't a ship. I am Nomad. Uh, and then that's when they're all like, okay, this is a machine. Um, Kirk's like, you wait here. I'll bring you the star chart. And Nomad's like, no, I'm gonna come with you. And then he slowly and creepily follows Kirk. We get these interesting shots where it's like from Nomad's perspective, like, and the camera's just like following Nomad.
Yeah.
Cool camera angle. I appreciated that. Okay, so Kirk, Spock, Bones, and Nomad go to auxiliary control. All right, and that's when we meet Lieutenant Singh. Yeah, Lieutenant Singh. All right, so they're showing him star charts. Um, he's like, "Oh, you're
Which
from the third planet." Kirk's like, "Yeah." With the planet with one large natural satellite, and he's like, "Yeah." The planet Earth. He's like, "Yeah." Then he's like, "You are the creator. You are the Kirk."
that's when I was like, wait, how does he know Kirk's name? Which I guess he did say he was James T. Kirk, but
Yeah, yeah, that's how he knows his name.
like how does he know he's the Kirk, not his brother with the mustache?
His brother with the mustache. Yeah, he's all like, "You are the creator," and Kirk's about to like correct him, and Spock's like, "Wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself." Okay, McCoy. Kirk's trying to ask a question. He's like, "You're the creator. You know the answers already." And McCoy's like, "Well, I'm not the creator. Give me answer my questions." And Nomad's like, "Is this one of your units?" And Kirk's like, "Yeah." He's like, "It functions irrationally."
And
And Kirk's like,
then
"Answer his questions anyways."
I like how Kirk's like, yeah, sometimes he functions irrationally.
Yeah, and Nomad's like, "My function is to probe for biological infestations, to destroy that which is not perfect. I am Nomad." And Kirk's like, "We'd never sent out a probe to do that." And Spock's like, "I'm gonna look at the history computer to figure this out." Kirk asked if Nomad destroyed the Malurian system, and he's like, "No, I just destroyed all the biological infestations on it. So all the people, the system's still there, just not any of the people." McCoy gets mad, but then Kirk's just like, "Why do you call me the creator?" It's like, "Am I wrong? You're the creator." And Kirk's about to correct him, and that's when Spock's like, "No, no, he's your creator. He's your creator. Trust us on that." And then Nomad's like, "Oh yeah, there was an accident. My memory banks are damaged." Mm. All right, then Kirk, Spock, and McCoy leave, and Kirk leaves Nomad with Lieutenant Singh. All right, out in the hallway, and Kirk's like, "What was that about, Spock?" And he's like, I'm pretty sure this is the Nomad probe from Earth." And McCoy's like, "We Earth couldn't build anything like that back then." And Spock's like, "Yeah, but obviously it upgraded itself somehow." Back in auxiliary control, Singh talks to her on the communicator. All right, and then Singh tells her to wait a minute, and then she starts singing, and Nomad's like, "What's up with that?" and leaves the room. He doesn't actually say what's up with that.
Right.
All right, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are in the briefing room. Spock pulls up the actual creator of Nomad, Jackson Roy Kirk, and we see a picture of him. Fun fact, the guy in the picture, the Jackson Roy Kirk guy, is the director of this episode. That's Mark Daniels.
I did not know that.
Give me one second. I just realized something that I forgot to do for this episode.
Just the two of us.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. There we go. Okay, back to where we were. All right, yeah. So basically, they're saying this guy, Jackson Roy Kirk, invented Nomad, and we think that Nomad thinks that Kirk is Roy Kirk. Spock says, "Clip. I believe that more than happened to it than just damage in the meteor collision. It mentioned the other. The unanswered question is the other what? Nomad was a thinking machine, the best that could be engineered. It was a prototype. Uh, its purpose was certainly altered. Its directive to seek out and destroy biological infestations could not have been programmed into it. As I recall, it wasn't. It was supposed to be the first interstellar probe to seek new life forms. Precisely, Doctor. And somehow that programming has been changed. It would seem that Nomad is now seeking out perfect life forms, perfection being measured by its own relentless logic. If what you say is true, then we've taken aboard our vessel a device which sooner or later must destroy us. End clip. All right, then Kurt calls security and's like, "I want security on Nomad at all times," and sends him to auxiliary control, which is when we, the audience, see Nomad go to the bridge where Uhura is singing. Um. Uh. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Lieutenant Singh reports that Nomad's missing from auxiliary control, and Kirk sends security after it. Scotty from the bridge calls Kirk to be like, "Hey, it's up here." And Kirk and Spock run up to the bridge. Um, Uhura singing. Nomad asks what it's doing. She's like, "I'm singing." Why? Because I feel like music? That's weird. Let me scan your brain. Um,
He doesn't say, "Let me scan your brain."
he doesn't say let me scan your brain. That,
He just starts.
I'm aware of that. I gotta make this podcast entertaining somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so he says, "Let me scan your brain." Scotty tries to attack it, and it just flings Scotty to the other side of the room. Yeah, McCoy gets there, and he looks at Scotty, and it says, "He's dead, Jim." And that is the end of Act Two. So Scotty's dead.
Um,
Well, Scotty's dead. We'll never see Scotty again. He's done on the show.
and he's a red shirt, so
He is a red shirt, so it makes sense.
it's a six red shirt count now.
Act 3. Kirk's like, "Why did you kill him?" He's like, "He touched me. That was
I
my
wish I
chief."
could kill people that touched me.
He's like, "That was my chief engineer." And he asks her if she's alright, and she says nothing. And Nomad's like, "It was defective." Yeah, so
Ah,
Nomad wiped Uhura's brain. Mm. And then he goes over to Scotty. He's like, "Do you want me to fix Scotty?" He's like, "He's dead." He's like, "So? Want me to fix Scotty?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna need the required tapes." And McCoy's like, "Clip. Well, he'll need tapes on general anatomy, the central nervous system, and then one on the physiological structure of the brain. We better give it all the neurological studies we have, as well as tracing of Scotty's hyper hyper hyperencephalogram and clip." Spock loads up all that data and gives it to Nomad. And all right,
I
then they all
like
do what?
oh, I like how Spock says, "Now, Nomad, don't try, pretty much don't blow up my computer this time.
Yeah, that's
Go as
great.
fast as the computer can. No, not faster."
I also liked that bit. All right, then they go to sickbay where Scotty's body is, and Nomad brings Scotty back to life.
Whoa, it's Frankenstein.
All right, all right. Then Kirk takes him to the other room where her is, and he's like, "Fix her," and he's like, "I can't fix her." "What are you talking about? Scotty was dead. She's not even dead. Just fix her." He's like, "Yeah, but Scotty just needed physically fixed. Like, I wiped Uhura's brain. There's nothing in there." And they're like, "Oh crap!" And then it's either Spock or McCoy is like, "Well, maybe we can re-educate Uhura. Sure, she's not gonna have any memories, but the cheap workforce. We'll just train her to be a communications officer."
That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right. All right. And then Kirk has two red shirts take Nomad to the brig. but tells him it's like a special, very just a special place for visitors. All right. Um, Spock is in the brig with Nomad, and Kirk walks in. And he's like, "How's it going?" Because Spock's supposed to be scanning Nomad and figuring out what makes him tick. And Spock's like, "Yeah, he won't let me pass his shields, so can't do nothing." And Kirk's like, "Let Spock pass your shields," and Nomad's like, "Okay."
I just
Uh,
had a thought.
yeah.
Going back to Ahura and no memories and stuff. That's why she never mentions working with Pike for all these years in Strange New Worlds, or Spock, like mentioning working with Spock.
Yeah. Uh, that's a fun theory. All right, back to Uhura in sickbay. Chapel's teaching her how to read, and there's this scene where she's struggling. She starts speaking in Swahili because that's Uhura's first language, which is it's a nice little moment. Turns out Nichelle Nichols actually like fought for that scene. Like the director just wanted to do English, and she's like, there should be a line in Swahili, and he's like, but you don't know Swahili, and she's like, that doesn't matter. Uhura knows Swahili, and
So, I get that she fought for that, and that was a big deal and everything. But story wise, if she has no memories and no one else on the ship can teach her Swahili, how is she proficient in Swahili when she's trying to learn English?
I think the idea is supposed to be that instead of like wiping her memory, like because like that's her native language, like that's what comes back to her first. It's not that
Okay.
greatly written, but like yeah, like the director and her disagreed, and Gene Roddenberry had to come in and make the final decision, and so that's why that scene's in there. Back in the brig, Spock's like, I'm not getting enough information. I'm gonna mind meld with it. And Kirk's like, you're sure? He's like, yeah. All right, and so Spock mind melds with Nomad. Clip. I am Nomad. I am performing my function. Deep emptiness. It approaches. Collision. Damage. Blackness. I am the other. I am Tonru. Tonru. Nomad. Tonru. Error. Flaw. Imperfection. Must sterilize. Rebirth. We are complete. Much power. Gun. Tanu. Ik. Tanru, the creator, instructs: search out, identify, sterilize imperfections. We are Nomad. We are Nomad. We are complete. We are instructed. Our purpose is clear. Sterilize imperfections. Sterilize imperfections. Nomad. Sterilize. Sterilize. Nomad. Sterilize. Spock. Spock. Nomad. You are in contact with the unit. Spock. Stop. Stop. Acknowledged. End clip.
I say that while Spock was doing the mind meld, it looked like he was doing some kind of weird pole dance.
Because he was going around him.
Yeah, like I was like, "What are you doing? Are you pole dancing here? What's going on?"
All right, so what we learned is Nomad and some alien probe fused together, and their wiring got crossed, and their two different directors became find perfect life and destroy anything that's not perfect. Fun fact: had Enterprise kept going on, they were going to do an episode where the crew of the Enterprise met the probe Tonru. So they would have met the alien probe before the Nomad thing happened.
Right.
Yeah, that could have been
Would have been
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
Is it ever mentioned anywhere else in Star Trek?
no.
Well, that's
Although a
sad.
lot of people compare this episode to the motion picture. And I think on some level, rightly so.
Like it would have been a good like Voyager episode, them to run into Tonru or something.
I mean, that would make sense because that's like centuries later, though.
I mean, it's centuries later whenever Enterprise runs into Nomad from Nomad leaving.
Wait, no, but like Enterprise is a century before the original series.
I said Voyager.
Yes, but Voyager is a century after the original series, so Tonru wouldn't be a thing because it would have already fused with Nomad. So Voyager doesn't make sense.
Oh, I got you. I got
But yeah, okay, all right. Out in the hallway, um, oh yeah, um, Spock's like freaking out up from the Maya meld, and Kirk drags him into a hallway. He's like, "Hey man, you okay?" Um, and Spock's like, yeah, that's not the Nomad we sent out. He got fused with another alien probe, and like now he's just killing everything that's not perfect. Um, yeah, he says the probe Tonru was programmed to sterilize soil samples from other planets, probably for colonization. And Kirk says, "Clip, a changeling. I beg your pardon. An ancient Earth legend, Mister Spock. A changeling was a fairy child that was left in a place of a human baby. The changeling assumed the identity of the human child, so it, mm, it is to sterilize, and for sterilize, read kill. End clip. Kirk said the thing.
So I've never heard of a changeling besides obviously Deep Space Nine.
Dang, I was gonna make a joke too.
But I've never heard of the whole fairies kidnapping kids or whatever that was. Have you?
Uh, I don't think I've heard this specific term changeling, but like, yeah, that's like a common trope in fairy tales, like replacing babies with like a fairy tale creature.
Hmm.
All right.
I guess I'm more into sci-fi than fairies.
All right. So Nomad flies through the force field and gets out of the brig. Two guards file at it, and then Nomad zaps them.
Ah.
All right. So two down.
That's three red shirts this episode.
That's two. Scotty doesn't count.
Scotty died. He
Okay.
counts.
Here's now. I would go with you, except for the fact that in Shore Leave, when McCord died and came back to life, we didn't count him. So if McCoy didn't count, then Scotty doesn't
Oh,
count.
oh, you suck.
Hey, I'm just telling you. Next week, gonna lose a bunch of red shirts, so you'll be happy. We're gonna lose a
No.
bunch of red shirts next week, and this week too. We lose like four red shirts.
Is next week like the episode where Kirk's like lines up the red shirts in the hallway and is like, all of you are gonna die.
No,
And the memes made out of it, you
no,
know.
that was we did that one already. That was crap. What was it called? The Devil in the Dark. Although only like
Hmm.
one of them ended up dying.
Oh. I think he does that again with uh what's the famous episode?
They're all famous
Trouble
episodes, David.
Trouble with Tribbles or Tribble Trouble or
Well, okay, yeah,
Double
there's a
Tribble,
line, but they're not all red shirts.
Triple Tribble.
He like lines up like a bunch of different colored shirts because they got in a fight with because they got in a fist fight with some Klingons and they weren't supposed to.
Oh, okay.
And then they Forrest Gumped Bashir and O'Brien into that scene. All right. All right, cut to engineering. Nomad floats in and Scotty's like, "Don't touch my engines." And he does. He touches the engines and he makes the ship go way fast past warp 10. And then Kirk gets there and like, stop that, you're gonna break the ship. And Noma's like, but I made the engine more efficient. And Kirk's like, you're gonna kill all of us. And Noma's like, okay.
I like how Scotty was still trying to pick a fight with them over the engine.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not like he just killed you and brought you back to life. Like, what, like an hour ago, Scotty?
Yeah. All right. Spock comes and says, hey, so the two red shirts are dead. And Kirk's like, did you kill my red shirts? And he's like, yeah. Clip. Nomad, it's about time I told you who and what you are. I'm a biological unit and I created you. Non sequitur. Biological units are inherently inferior. This is an inconsistency. Nomad, there are two men waiting outside. You will not harm them. They will escort you back to the waiting area. You will stay there. You will do nothing. I am programmed to investigate it. I have given you new programming and you will implement it. There is much to be considered before I return to launch point. I must reevaluate. End clip. And Kirk's like, Nomad follows the red shirts, and Kirk's like, reevaluate. And Spock's like, I think he is about to reevaluate its creator and if he needs to follow its orders. And then they're like, oh crap. And then they're like, it also said it's going to go back to Earth. And they're like, oh crap, it's going to go to Earth and find a bunch of things it needs to sterilize. And that is the end of Act 3.
And it'll sterilize Vulcan on the way.
Maybe. I don't know. No man might think that Vulcan is perfect. Because Vulcan is very logical.
Uh, Wait till he meets the Klingons.
Yeah. Klingons would get a lot of sterilization. All
They would
right.
probably be worshiping him, though, and make some kind of ritual to, like, I don't know, pin something on him without
I,
getting
I
sterilized.
don't know, because Worf said that the Klingons killed their gods because they were more trouble than they're worth. So, like, I don't think they would worship him.
Eh, that's true.
All right, Act 4 clip. Captain's log, stardate 3541.9. The presence of Nomad aboard my ship has become nightmarish. Now it apparently means to return to Earth. Once there, it would automatically destroy all life. End clip. So, pretty high stakes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in a hallway. Nomad's following the guards. The guards turn a corner. Nomad keeps going straight, and they're like, "Hey, stop that!" Then they fire their phasers at it, and Nomad fires back.
Yeah. I don't know what the sound effect is.
It's the Wilhelm scream. We get 5 Wilhelm screams in this episode. That's gonna be fun for me later. All right. In another hallway, McCoy calls Kirk on the communicator to sickbay because there's an emergency. Um, Kirk and Spock run to sickbay. In sickbay, McCoy's comforting Chapel on the floor, and they're like, "What happened?" And McCoy's like, "Nomad tried to get into our personnel medical files. Christine tried to stop him, and he knocked her down. Didn't do anything else, just knocked her down." And Kirk's like, "Whose file was he reading?" And McCoy's like, "Yours." And Kirk's like, "Oh crap." And Spock's like, "I think Nomad has completed his reevaluation." Then Scotty calls Kirk on communicator and says that all life support systems have been turned off. Scotty's on the bridge, trying to manually override, but it's not working. Um, he also says that the source was in engineering, so Kirk runs to engineering. Oh, actually, before he runs to engineering, he says to have Scotty grab some anti-gravs and to meet him in engineering. All right. So now Kirk runs to engineering, where everyone's passed out except for Nomad, because Nomad's not a person. Basically, Kirk tells Nomad to stop what he's doing and turn life support back on, and Nomad's like, nah. And Kirk's like, I'm your creator, obey me. And he's like, nah. All right. And then Kirk does that great thing he does and talks a robot to death. Clip. Nomad, I admit that biological units are imperfect, but a biological unit created you. I am perfect. I am Nomad. No, you're not Nomad. You're an alien machine. Your programming tapes have been altered. You are in error. You are a biological unit. You are imperfect, but I am your creator. You are the creator. I created you. You are the creator. But I admit I'm perfect. How could I admit I'm imperfect? How could I have created a perfect thing as you? Answer unknown. I shall analyze. Um uh Analysis complete. Insufficient data to resolve problem, but my programming is whole. My purpose remains. I am Nomad. I am perfect. That which is perfect must be imperfect must be sterilized. Uh then you will continue to destroy that which thinks and lives and is imperfect. I shall continue. I shall return to launch point Earth. I shall sterilize. You you must sterilize in case of error. Error is inconsistent with my prime functions. Sterilization is correction. Everything that is an error must be sterilized. There are no exceptions. Nomad, I made an error in creating you. The creation of perfection is no error. I did not create perfection. I created error. Your data is faulty. I am Nomad. I am perfect. I am I am Kirk, the creator. You are the creator. You are wrong. Jackson Roy Kirk, your creator, is dead. You have mistaken me for him. You are in error. You did not discover your mistake. You have made two errors. You are flawed and imperfect, and you have not corrected by sterilization. You have made three errors. Error, 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 examine. You are flawed and imperfect. Execute your prime function. I shall analyze error, end clip. So yeah, Kirk talks the computer to death. Then him and Scotty use the anti-gravs to carry him to the transporter room. In the transporter room, they throw him on the transporter. The whole time he's just going error, 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 faulty error. They beam him into space. Or actually, right before they beam him into space, Kirk says, clip, Nomad, you are imperfect. Error, error. Exercise your prime function. Faulty, faulty. Must sterilize, sterilize, end clip. And then they beam him into space and he blows himself up.
Hmm.
Kirk 3, the machine's 0.
They should have just put control against Kirk.
They should have. I've been saying that this whole time. They should have just brought young Lieutenant Kirk into control, have him talk to him for a minute, and then it would have killed itself.
Exactly. Mm.
All right. Back on the bridge. Spock's like, good job with the logic on that Nomad thing. And McCoy is like, Lieutenant Her is gonna be fine. Um, and then clip. Remarkable. What? The destruction of Nomad was a great waste, Captain. It was a remarkable instrument, which might well have destroyed billions of lives. It's well gone. Besides, what are you feeling so badly about? It's not easy to lose a bright and promising son, sir. Well, it thought I was its mother, didn't it? Do you think it com- Do you think I'm completely without feelings, Mister? Do you think I'm completely without feelings, Mister Spock? You saw what it did for Scotty. What a doctor it would have made. My son, the doctor, kind of gets you right there, doesn't it? End clip. And that is the end of our episode. One thing I will point out: later in Star Trek, when we find out that Kirk had a son, his son was a doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah. All right. Oh, wrong page. There we go. Now let's go to the ah red shirt death count. This week we
I was
lost.
like, I was gonna say, are you gonna say it or just
Well,
what?
usually when I say pause for sound effect, you make a sound effect.
But I knew what sound effect it was. I don't know. That's my fault.
You're fine. This week we lost 4 red shirts, which means in total we've lost 2 beige shirts, 5 blue shirts, 7 gold shirts, 1 hazard vest guy, 9 red shirts, and a total of 24 crewmen. And we do count the beige shirts as red shirts, so we now have 11 red shirt deaths on the board. 8,
11.
9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11 red shirt deaths.
That's impressive.
Just wait till next week.
One episode is why all the red shirts die.
Yeah. All right. And now it's time for
You betrayed your uniform!
But Not Really, the segment where I point out uniform inconsistencies. So Jackson Roykirk is wearing an original series dress Starfleet uniform. But he's from the 2000s, which is about 100 years before Enterprise. And from Enterprise, we know that that's not what Starfleet uniforms look like. Also, Starfleet didn't exist in the 2000s. And that was
You betrayed your uniform!
But Not Really. I just really like using that clip. You know what? Insert clip here again.
You betrayed your uniform!
Alright, final thoughts?
I mean, it was a good episode.
Yeah,
It was good.
it was good.
It's nothing to write home about, but it was a good filler
Yeah.
episode.
It was a good episode. It had interesting ideas. Rewatching it, I get why people compare the motion picture to it. They have
Right.
similar plots and themes.
Yeah. On the Bailey scale, 1 Bailey being the best, 10 Baileys being the worst, I'd put it right in the middle out of 5.
Okay. Join us next week for The Apple. You can find me on Instagram at Couch Talks Movies. David, tell the people where they can find you.
All right. On Instagram at the_actual_David_Moss, and on TikTok at the_actual_David.
You can find the show on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Tomorrow Trek Pod and at patreon.com/tomorrowisyesterday. Don't forget to check out our stuff on the Couch Podcast Network store where you can save 10% on 3 or more products from now until April 23rd. And we do have some brand new stuff over there like the Galileo 7 plus Space Nut equals stranded on the Galileo 7 plus Space Nut equals stranded on a planet shirt. Links are in the description. And please, if you are enjoying this show, please consider rating and reviewing on your podcast app of choice. And until next time,
Live long and
You betrayed your uniform!